Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. With special thanks to our pal bank. ADT Taxis, Feedme, Piglet's Pantry, Tiger, Leicester Garage Conversions, Pink Vehicle Leasing, Hologram, The Fox's Arms, Moyer Wade Interiors, and our chosen charity, Memphis UK. We bring you the fans' views on the match each week, and your views matter to us. Join the fans debate each match with us. Follow us at Leicester Fan TV.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV, second show tonight. I'm sure you're bored of seeing this face around the channel now. Jokes. Hope everyone's well. So yeah, let's get cracking. Let's get a few hellos in and go from there. So Ben Tompkins, evening mate. Hope you're well. Sean, evening mate. Gray Richardson, Jackie baby, hello Gray. Mark Harrison, hi pal, let's rock it, let's go. So let's get more importantly on with the show. I've got DJ Daps from Never a Foul podcast. Go and check them out on YouTube. So let's get him in.
Good evening.
You're right.
Good evening. Welcome.
Welcome.
Bank holiday weekend.
Yes.
Big game. One I've been worrying about.
Very massive game. So what are your thoughts ahead of this weekend then, Daps?
So I watched the show earlier with Stephen from Steam Company on it, and he said that he wasn't looking forward to it. And to be honest with you, it is the same for me. It's one that I've earmarked for probably a couple of months now. Look, definitely since we've been top. And when people were saying City to win the league, and I've been pinpointing the games where we can drop points, and this is one of them. Chelsea's one of them. And most of February, I thought we could drop points, but we sailed through that. But this one, I mean, we win. I said this on a podcast yesterday, on the Leicester podcast. If we win tomorrow, we win the league.
Yeah,
I'm not saying we win the league yet, right? Because
I think you won it, to be honest. But that's from my perspective.
Stranger things have happened. We are a City. We're Manchester City. We throw things away. That's what's in our DNA. Have you ever seen us in the Champions League? Right. But if we beat you lot at the weekend, I will then say, right, I can't see us dropping any more points, but I can, we've got battle wounds against you lot. You left us with some really sizable battle wounds back in October. And I had a meltdown after that game. I was blocking people. I was kicking people out of groups. I had a complete live and in colour meltdown.
Yeah.
Even worse when we were 1-0 up.
I remember that game, like, obviously Morris scoring, and it was just ridiculous to, like, seeing it. Obviously, Man City getting away 3 penalties, and then Maddison absolutely smacking it from distance and beating Ederson.
Do you know what? Do you know what stands out to me in that game? Right, there's one moment in that game that I will always remember, because we're 1-0 up, and to be fair, until probably about the 30th minute, we were really in control of the game. Really, really in control of the game. And then there was a moment that led to a goal. And I think it was the first goal. Didn't you brought it back to 1-1 before half time, right?
Yeah. Carl Walker brought Vardy down,
He did. Was that right? So there's one moment, and I don't know which goal it led to, but the moment was, my friend had just messaged me saying, Mendy looks so insane. And I messaged him back and said, wait for it, he's going to make a mistake. Now, no one's really spoke about what he did, but Mendy is a left-sided player, right?
Yeah.
He was all the way over in the right corner, right?
Yeah.
Gave the ball away. Chased back.
Yeah.
Brought a player down. 2 mistakes. And then the final mistake that was for me, it was a nail in the coffin that is Mendy, is someone got past him and he made a mistake. Someone got past him and were running into the box. So they weren't even in the box. And Mendy just stood there watching him. Didn't try and chase back, just stood there watching him. And at that point, I just thought, and then after that, it was just, we were missing Fernandinho. You were hitting us on the counter, as you do all the time with Vardy. It was just, although Leicester have changed the way they play this season, that was the Leicester of the last couple of years. You just...
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Can you tell that you've left battle wounds with me?
I guess so, yeah, because you seem upset, so you don't seem to want to know what to talk about.
I'm going to put my cat back to front because I like doing it. I don't like covering my face. But the only thing that made that day better is what happened afterwards. That was the day that Villa spanked Liverpool.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
So we played, I think, 5 or 5:30.
Which 7-2, was it?
Yeah. It was that day, and do you know what? It calmed me down because it was like,
good to see them lose.
Leicester's not as bad as them lot, the Dippers.
Yeah.
Looking to.
So what did you actually think to the game? Then obviously Aki got one back from a corner, didn't he? And then Maddison scored a cracker, and then Mendy brought Maddison down again, didn't he? In that second half to give Leicester another penalty.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Stephen touched on it earlier. It was because we started, like, as City fans were quite worried about this season going into it. And at that point, we still hadn't sorted out, although we were supposed to all the way through the summer get a top-class centre-back, we hadn't sorted it out. We'd won a couple of games. We looked all right, but I was still a bit... And then that game in particular, Mendy, I think it was 50 million. Do you know what, though? Mendy's got a lot of trophies, to be fair. He's probably the most honoured player per game that you will ever find. But he was good. He was good for Monaco. He used to whip the ball in lovely. That's what we bought him off the back of. He had a very brief spell where he looked good for us, but he just doesn't suit us now. Hold tight, Ty. That's who I run the channel with. Hold tight, Ty. Trafford Tunnel. Any United fans watching it? But yeah, I think that game, like I said, the first 25, 30 minutes, we were in control. And then it was we just collapsed. And the other thing that I remember is Garcia played at the back.
Yeah, he did, with the rugby helmet on.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at certain games. You could look at that game. You could look at Lyon in the Champions League last season. Garcia played at the back. And it's just a strange one because he's great on the ball, but he's very slow. So why is he playing against a team with Vardy up top? That's
it. Vardy's got some pace. Obviously, since Man City's played Leicester, Vardy's not really scored as many goals. I think he's just scored penalties. But I think with Vardy, he offers another side to his game what people don't really look at. They just look at him as a goal scorer, don't they? They don't look at him on his other side of his game, his football knowledge. And
this is true.
With Iheanacho up front, he seems to help Kell out a lot with the experience and making space for Kell to run into and score the goals. So.
I think he probably, and I'm one, I really like to talk about mentality. I really like to talk about influence in the dressing room. And I have no doubt that Vardy is a massive, massive influence in the dressing room. And also, I use one clip of Vardy all the time. Have you ever seen the clip in the tunnel where Van Dijk and... is it Van Dijk and Schmeichel were talking to each other?
Oh,
no,
Danish.
Not Van Dijk. It's not Van Dijk.
It's not Van Dijk.
It's your who's it? Danish friend.
It might be Vestergaard. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Is Vestergaard Danish?
Yeah, Vestergaard's Danish. Yeah.
So it's him. And he goes, and all you hear is Vardy behind him go, "Oh, Danish friends."
he just loves to wind people up, and that's who he is.
The other thing is, there's a lot to be said about a good penalty taker because right now we could really do with a good penalty taker because we miss penalties for fun. We really do.
Yeah, they've had a problem with that, haven't they? With obviously Ederson's your so-called best penalty taker. So
that's who we want. That's who we want. But I think once the league's sewn up, I think Pep might allow him to. That's what we want, though.
Maybe.
So yeah, that game we just collapsed, and but it's funny when you were speaking earlier.
Yeah.
What's that? Do you feel that Manchester City will prioritise the FA Cup or Champions League? What over this game, or is he meaning between the two?
In general, I think he's looking at it in
I mean,
general, because obviously you guys are going to win the league, so it's the other.
Yeah,
two,
I mean,
isn't it?
at the moment we're not prioritising anything over the league. Pep wants the league sewn up because you can't have the league carrying on into the latter stages of the Champions League. But if it's between the Champions League and the FA Cup, it's not even debatable. We are prioritising the Champions League. However much as fans, we're not that bothered about it, although all other fans are. We're not that bothered about it. We definitely will prioritise it because we need it now, because we're kind of getting to that point where the only thing that these big clubs have over us is but you haven't done it in Europe. So it's kind of like, do you know what? We need to do it just to shut them up now. I'm kind of bored of hearing that one excuse that clubs have to fall back on is talk about. I mean, come on, Spurs knocked us out of the Champions League.
Yeah. That was a mad game, that. So then VAR went to it, didn't it? And it rolled. Sterling scored, was it? And then
so it's strange because that was the one where, and it was right. It was right to be ruled off. But then we played them the beginning of the following season, and again we scored in the like last couple of minutes, and it got ruled out because of a handball. Now off of Laporte. The ball did not change direction, and Laporte's hand was pulled into the ball by a Tottenham player. The Tottenham player pulled the ball back and pulled his hand into the ball, and it got given as a free kick to them, which is just like, but we don't want to talk about VAR, we'll be here forever. Rather talk about Vardy.
Don't talk about VAR.
Should we have kept Kasper Schmeichel? No.
What do you actually think to Kasper?
No, he's good. I think he's very underrated. I think he should be spoke about a lot more, to be honest with you. And when you look at Leicester and you think Maguire and you think of, I mean, Johnny Evans, by the way, I'm a big Johnny Evans fan. I wanted us to sign him a couple of seasons ago, and I think he's really underrated as well. I have no doubt he's a big influence in the dressing room and with the younger players. But the one consistency Leicester has is their goalkeeper. Through all of it, through all these other players that come and go, Kasper's stayed there. I'm trying to think who replaced Kasper Schmeichel for us, and I think it was Shay Given.
Yeah, it might have been, because that's when you had like Richard Dunn and that, didn't you?
Mike Richard. But no, he's a great goalkeeper. I honestly, I said this on a podcast a couple of weeks ago that I think he isn't spoken about enough.
Yeah. How are you guys going to replace Sergio Aguero then? I know it's sad news for you guys that he's going to be going soon at the end of the season. He's been a legend at the club. Your top scorer in history.
Legend to the league, not just the club.
Are you guys going to miss him? Or?
Oh, hell yeah. He's given us our greatest memory of all time. It's strange because when I talk my top 5, Aguero's never in it. When I talk my top 3, Aguero's not in it, right? I'm quite controversial. And he's in my top 5, but Yaya and Aguero don't make my top 3 of this era. Until it got announced he was leaving. And then it made me reminisce. And I was like, what am I doing? Fernandinho, you dropped to 4th. Aguero's going in. How we replace him, you can listen to the media. And you can hear all the talks and everyone's saying this person, that person, or this person might go there. For me, I am now at a point where I trust my manager and I trust the board. For us to be announcing 8 games before the end of the season that Aguero's going, it's lined up. We've lined someone up. Our board is very confident they're getting Aguero their target. Whether it be Kane, whether it be Haaland, whether it be Danny Ings. It's the 1st of April this morning. I saw Danny Welbeck thrown in the mix. And then I realised it was the 1st of April. I also saw Wilfred Boney for 250 million in the mix as well. But I'm kind of like I trust Pep too much now, and whatever we will get someone.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I struggle to see how Haaland fits in at City.
I think he's a very good striker though, isn't he? Haaland, he's proving it here, there, and everywhere at the minute. Obviously, Barcelona have gone for talks with him, so
I tell you what, UEFA, buggers, right? Because for years we've had to face financial fair play, right? Where because we want to spend, because like a business, we want to invest money to try and catch up with the big boys. We've come under all this scrutiny, right? Because really all they want to do is look after the big boys and make sure that no one else can get there. Now, what's happened when Real Madrid and Barcelona have got no money? Oh, we're going to change the rules. We're going to change the rules now. And now all of a sudden, two clubs that we all know are in massive debt are having talks with the most expensive footballer in the world. It's just, UEFA is so corrupt. It's unbelievable. But
it's crazy.
I think the one thing that Haaland brings that maybe City miss is sometimes to win the Champions League, you need that special player that can grab the game by the scruff of the neck and win it themselves. And that is probably what Haaland can do. He can win it by himself.
Messi and Ronaldo can do the same, can't they? Obviously, you guys have been linked with Lionel Messi, haven't you? With him running out of contract at the end of the season at Barcelona. So, will he have a reunion with Pep? What do you think?
I hope, right, if we sign him, don't get me wrong, I'll be happy. But we sign younger players because we signed Aguero. We've had 10 years out of Aguero. So I would hope that when we buy another player, we're buying 10 years of goals. We're not buying 2 years of goals. And then, because if he comes City, he'll be a 2 years max. Then he's going to New York City for 2 years. So, if we get him, great. But I don't see it. I don't see it now.
Question: what's your thoughts on Brendan Rodgers?
So he is another one that probably isn't being spoke about enough. Once bitten, twice shy. He's obviously was young at Liverpool. Did a good job, to be fair. Then he's gone off, kind of built his reputation back up. Come back, and I mean, right. So if I go back to 2 seasons ago when the company goal, the minute he joined you, you just looked so organised and difficult to break down. And I remember that game that it was kind of at the point we had to win that game, and it was like, we're not going to break them down. We've tried everything. We're going to draw this. We're actually going to draw this. And it took a goal that never happens from a player that never scores them. That because you lot looked so organised and compact, and so he always asks this. He always asks this question.
Would I rather keep Tielemans or Ndidi? Oh, it's a tough one because Tielemans and Ndidi are fantastic players as a partnership.
It's not tough.
Ndidi's just fantastic centre defensive midfield. Him and Kante are probably the ones of the best in the league. Centre defensive midfield.
Please put some respect on Fernandinho's name.
How old is he again, Fernandinho?
36. And look at him. He's still a monster.
I think Ndidi's still got a lot to learn, though, haven't he?
I think
he's still young as well, so he's 24.
So if we were to well, no, you answer this question first. Which one would you rather lose? Have you froze?
No, I've not froze. I'm thinking of the answer.
You have froze. You're not moving unless you can play statue really well. You froze.
I'm gonna go for Ndidi.
It's not the screen, people. It's just his. There he is. He's back with us.
I'm gonna say Ndidi.
What? You'd rather lose Ndidi? Oh, you'd rather keep Ndidi? Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I'd rather keep Wolf. Yeah.
If we would, so what I was going to say is, if we were to move away from talking about City's striking options, if I could see us going for one other player, it would be Ndidi. I'd love Ndidi at City.
He's phenomenal, isn't it? The way he takes the game to teams, he'll win it back. He just does something that Kante used to do when Leicester won the title that season. we'd lose the ball and he'd somehow just take it off whoever and then just bring it forward.
It's the most unsung. It's the most unsung position on the field for me. It's so critical. And when Liverpool talk about all their injuries, then Leicester, how many? I mean, you missed Ndidi for about 15 games, I think, at one point.
Yeah. We've missed quite a lot of players. Madison, Barnes, James Justin, Fofana. You name it, we've had them all out.
Like, I saw a list and it had about 15 players at what I think it had about 15 players that have had 3 weeks or more out this season for you lot.
I think it's just Tillemans and Albrighton that hasn't been injured this season. So
in answer to that question, my favourite player of all time is right. No, there's two sides. My favourite player is Vincent Kompany.
Yeah.
The best ever football player to play for Manchester City is David Silva.
Yeah. Fantastic players. I used to like to watch David Silva, you know, when he played for, was it Valencia you got him from?
Yes, I want to say yes.
Valencia, yeah.
Sure, it was Valencia.
He was a fantastic player then. I think with Silva, the experience that he had as well in that midfield, and he bossed the midfield against these Man Uniteds in the...
Yeah.
And you just think, what an incredible player to watch. And Man City miss him quite a lot, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
And it just shows the hole that he's left in that team.
He's just such a professional, but also the way he controlled the whole tempo of a game.
Yeah.
Like, he would decide, if he's on the pitch, he decides when it speeds up, he decides when it slows down. And that he's a magician. And when you think about it, in his era and the number of caps he has, I think he's one of the most capped Spanish players. He's top 5 goal scorers for Spain, and that is in a midfield that consists of Xavi and Iniesta. So if you look at it like that, it kind of tells you how good the guy is. But yeah, I like that you've watched and you know that, because I think to really understand David Silva, you have to have watched him. Because if we're talking stats, yeah, he's not going to get the most goals and the most assists, but he does so much more than that.
Thiago's father says, please name the Leicester's long-term injuries other than Justin. Obviously, we've got Barnes out at the minute, so apart from that, James Justin, there's no other injuries.
No, what he's meaning is this season.
Oh, this season?
That is cool. Thiago's father, so hold tight, Thiago's father, he runs our Liverpool channel that's about to start.
Does he? Okay.
The Red Sea. I will send you, after this show, I will send you Thiago's father an image that gives the breakdown. And this is, to be fair, this is from January, and it gives you the breakdown of how many weeks Leicester players have been out. So I've seen it. It's a lot. It's a lot. All right. Have they had a Van Dijk that's out for that long? No, but they've had injuries all over the show, and they've got less money than you.
Yeah. We've had Castagna out quite a lot. Ricardo, I think Ricardo out for 9 months. He was out since last season when we played Aston Villa. So we've had Castagna out. We've had Vardy out. He's been in and out of the team. Wilfred Ndidi, another one, Dennis Pratt. They're all long-term injuries. Madison as well. He's come back from a knee injury. Then he's back out again. So I guess we've just had to cope with what we've got, and we've not used the excuses of these long-term injuries. We've just got on with it and let the games pan out, because everyone wrote us off, didn't they? As soon as we started getting these injuries, they thought, Leicester's going to get in the relegation zone. Leicester getting the relegation zone. But they've not gave us the credit since for where we are. We've never got talked about. So,
if Leicester picked up and there's a couple of games that I feel Leicester should have won that they didn't win.
Yeah.
You know, they're winnable games. They're games that on paper you would put Leicester down as winning. And I think if you won them, you'd be a lot closer to us. And that's been your inconsistency. Like, you will. The one thing I always say is Leicester will always impact who wins the league, because like you will take points off of the top 6, right? You will.
Yeah.
I mean, and let's be honest, you are part of the top 6 now, but you will take points off of the big 6, right?
Yeah.
If you could then pick up against the teams that you should be beating, and generally you do, but then there's some that you've just like, you should be winning that. I think you'd be a lot closer to us.
Yeah, we lost to like Villa, West Ham, Everton. We've dropped points at home. I think our home form's been the inconsistency this season. If you've looked at us away from home, we've dominated teams. Apart from the Liverpool game at Anfield, we've dominated teams. We've got most points away from home.
When you talk about form at home, though, you kind of sound similar to Man United and Liverpool.
Not that bad. I know we've lost our games, what we should have been winning, but we could have been, as you say, closer to you. But
that's an interesting question.
Would you take Brendan Rodgers' pet? Yeah.
Do you know what? I'll give him a few more seasons at Leicester. Pep's here for another 2 years yet, so I wouldn't even want to comment on it. Everything will change when Pep leaves. Yeah, and to be fair, he does. We always talk about Leicester's ability to always replace players with better players through their scouting.
Yeah, we've been very good at that, haven't we? Very good. Money, 80 million for Maguire, 50 million for Chilwell. We've spent it well, though.
I didn't realise you only paid 400,000 for Mahrez.
Yeah, in the Championship.
Some real
limits, I think. How much we sold him for as well.
Someone needs to put me on with some shares that make that much profit, because that is insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Answering the question about the top 3 strikers to replace Jamie Vardy, it's difficult because we're not a club who's going to spend 90 million on a striker. I guess, Brentford's Ivan Toney. I know we're being linked with Ed Ward from Celtic, but is Ed Ward going to cut it in the Premier League? I don't think so.
Listen, you see who you just said?
Yeah.
From Brentford.
Yeah.
I guarantee you will now get a comment from either Ty or Thiago's father boosting him, because they always talk about him.
I love him. I love watching him at Brentford. I think he's a phenomenal striker. He's proved it at Peterborough. We had him at the age of 16 in Leicester's academy and got rid of him. So it's just something you learn, and he's progressed since. And I think we'd take him back, but it's how much it's going to cost us to bring him back to the King Power.
I've just clocked you've got a real Leicester accent. I've just clocked that. Tech him. I will tech him. My brother lives in Leicester.
So, how do you think these season's gone so far for Manchester City in every respect?
Better than expected. Yeah, we started off badly. I mean, let's be honest. Until December, we were like, at one point, we were 12th and 11 points behind Tottenham.
Yeah.
And now I don't even know how many points above Tottenham we are. Don't know if you can fit it on a calculator, to be honest. But until there we go. I told you. Yeah, it's just we're great at playing the long game. We always have been.
Yeah. See, like Harvey Barnes. Yeah, he's a winger, isn't he? I don't think he's a striker. If you look at Harvey Barnes this season compared to last, he's upgraded his game. He's boosted drastically. He wanted to put him chances away last season. Well, he's putting away this season.
You know what? Harvey Barnes is another one that a lot of people will be sniffing around in the summer.
Yeah.
Very good player. But do you know what? I'm going back to Brendan Rodgers. The one I've got a lot of respect for Brendan Rodgers. If you think just over a year ago, he was linked with Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
And at the time, people were saying, yeah, he might. And I was like, why would he go? Like I said earlier, once bitten, twice shy. He's been at a big club. He's seen the pressure that brings, right? And lost his job, right? He's built back the respect. And now he's at a club that actually are performing at a higher level than Arsenal.
Yeah.
Don't have the pressure that comes with the Arsenal job. We'll probably get more financial and certainly a better scouting system to back him.
Yeah.
Why would he go to Arsenal? And then he signed a contract, which is great news.
It's good for Brendan Rodgers. Since he's coming from Celtic, he obviously wanted a new challenge. I know they slate him at Celtic, but I guess his time come to an end at Celtic. He'd won what he's won, but he couldn't have won any more. And I guess a new challenge at Leicester, it were a good thing for him.
Yeah, look, Brendan Rodgers was very close to winning the Premier League, right?
Yeah.
So, swap Pep with Jose. Pardon? I'm all right, you know. Maybe they are a Man United. No, who's maybe they're a Tottenham fan and they want Pep. I'll presume that's what they mean. But yeah, I think he had one hand on that Premier League trophy, right?
Yeah, he did.
And there is no doubt if you're a top manager, you want to avenge what has happened, but also you want to prove yourself. So he's proved himself in Scotland, but there's only a certain point. Like the ceiling was hit. He wasn't going to go any higher.
Yeah,
he's come. I think Leicester was probably the perfect move for him because he hasn't come back to a club that are going to have over the top expectations. Like if you would have come to a club that thinks a couple of signings going to win you the league, and then if they don't within 9 months, fans want you out. He's come to a club that is established, that is finishing in and around, and he knows like your club is run well. I think yesterday we had the conversation. City and right. So Mark, before Pep joined us, we'd won the league twice in the last 5 years before Pep joined us, right? So how good would we be without Pep? We won the league before Pep, but how good would, I mean, all right, get rid of Brendan Rodgers, then we'll see how good Leicester are. It's just one of those things, like, it's a very random comment, but yeah. It definitely
that's a good question for you.
It rattled me, so well done, Mark.
There's a fantastic question for you.
Would you like the quadruple or Man United relegated? Right. So I often say that when I was young and I lived up there and I used to go to Main Road week in, week out, the most I ever got to celebrate was Man United not winning the Premier League. Like when Blackburn won the league over, I was at the last game of the season at City, and literally it was us v Arsenal. And we had a party with the Arsenal fans. The main chant at Manchester City was, if you hate Man United, clap your hands. Like, that's all we had to really talk about and celebrate. However, I don't hate United. I grew up on some great football from Man United. And plus, I want to play him twice a season minimum. So I want him in the same division. I want to win the quadruple. But I'm not obsessed with it. But I do want to win it. Of course, come on. It's the one thing that no one in the Premier League's done. It gives us a bit of bragging rights.
What would you say your most memorable game is growing up watching Manchester City?
I've got a random one. The most memorable game was Manchester City v Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
On a Saturday night in October at Main Road. And the reason it was memorable was just the mayhem at the ground. It was just absolute mayhem in the stadium, outside the stadium. And I just remember being a little kid kind of buzzing off it, to be honest, although my dad just wanted to get back to the car. But yeah, it's a random one. If we're talking football point of view, my most memorable, and it's my first memory of football, is Italia 90, Gaza crying. That's my most. It's my first memory of football. That is my, and I just remember. I think I cried as well when I saw Gaza crying because it was just like, no. Because this is when we were growing up. I wasn't growing up. I was a grown man when they played QPR. Yeah, and then of course that is my best memory. I was grateful that I got to see that with my dad before he passed away. So we got to witness Manchester City winning the Premier League together. And I told my fiance at the time, "You're welcome to come round to watch it, but it could get quite tense." And obviously, we're 2-1 down in the 85th minute. And I thought, what have we done? We've thrown it away again. We're 1-0 up. We've thrown it away. We're not going to win the league. We score in the 91st minute or something, and it's like it's too late. And then Aguero pops up, boom, bang. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. Sunderland are doing the Poznan to the United fans. And I burst into tears. And my dad, I look over at my dad. He wasn't an emotional person. He sat there with a tear in his eye. And then my wife sat there looking at us both thinking, what the hell is going on? This is a game of football. And I've got two grown men crying their eyes out. And then I've just calmed down, and then Vincent Kompany talks. Yeah. Tears again. Then it stops. Then someone tears again. And literally for the next, I mean, it's just, yeah, that's my best memory of all time. But my first memory is England Italia 90.
Yeah. So talking about Man City, what made you support Man City? When did you start supporting it?
So what made me support Manchester City is when we bought Robinho. It's when we bought Robinho about 10 years ago. And then I thought, do you know what? This team are going to win a lot of stuff, so I'm going to support them. Yeah. Not really. But that is what he wanted me to say. That is 100% what he wanted me to say. So if you can hear my accent, I'm from Manchester.
Yeah.
Not really. I'm not really. So I was born in Barnet, and my real dad was a Watford fan, and I supported until Watford until the age of 3, I guess, and then my mum and dad broke up. I moved up to Manchester. My stepdad was City through and through, and for the next probably 5 years, I was bought both kits, Watford, City. If I was down south, I'd go Vicarage Road Lane, and watch Watford with my dad. And then when we were up in Manchester, I'd go Main Road with my stepdad. To be honest, I just wanted kits to wear to football on a Saturday morning. So I wasn't really... And then my real dad moved to the other side of the world, and we lived in Manchester, and I was going to City every week, and it was just a no-brainer. And I was getting to the age now where I actually knew what football was. And I've supported them since forever. I mean, I've only been to the Etihad probably about 10 times. I've been to Main Road hundreds of times. I live down south now, going up there with a family, and that's long. But when we lived up there, I went a lot. And the golden era, I think you saw earlier on when Stephen was talking about his first memories. Yeah. And if you watch the video back, the comment I put was typed while he was saying it. Yeah. Gary Flitcroft, Peter Beagrie, Paul Walsh, Keith Curl, Richard Edgehill, Uwe Rosler, Georgie Kinkladze, about 15 other Georgian players that we signed just because they were from the same place as Georgie Kinkladze. That was the era that I kind of came up on. And I actually switched off around the time of Sean Goater. It was like that era, I wasn't really... I just moved back down south and was probably at the age where you do naughty things and you're not so bothered about football. And I switched off for that period a little bit, but... Yeah.
Andy Medhurst says the Etihad is a lovely stadium.
Yeah, it is. It is. But you know what? The Etihad is a lovely stadium. And if you look at compared to Main Road was like patchwork because we were so unorganized back then. We'd like do one stand, then do another stand, and we wouldn't join them up, and it would just look like crap, right? Yeah. The Etihad's a beautiful stadium, but I'm going to be honest with you, the atmosphere at times is a bit not as bad as the Library in North London, but it's
so
lot to be said about old school stadiums. I think everyone would agree with that.
So what do you actually think to the Aguero news then? Let's touch on
that. So I've been saying all season that unless he gets fitness, we can't pay him 240,000 a week for a couple of games a season. We can't do it. And there's sentiment and there's being realistic, and we can't do it because then if Ozil is a prime example, Arsenal tried to hold on to him. They sign another contract for 4 or 5 years, paying him the same money that he was on before, or maybe even a pay rise. And then a year into it, he's not playing anymore. It turns bitter, right?
Yeah.
The one thing, if you look at our legends, Vincent Kompany, he went on a free. Yaya Toure, he went on a free. David Silva, he went on a free. When Fernandinho goes, he will go on a free. All of our legends, it's a bit of a, you've done your time. Now you decide your destiny, where you go, because you, and it's amicable. It's not, it doesn't turn bitter. And with Aguero, the one thing from Aguero landed at Manchester City, he always just would do 2-year extensions, because his plan always was, I don't want to go anywhere else. I just want to go back to Independiente and end my career there. And obviously, if we kept him in contract, he can never do that because they'll never be able to afford him.
Yeah.
Aguero's going to get a bit of a touch that right now, a lot of clubs don't have too much money. And so he's a perfect free transfer for some clubs. The problem is, apparently City offered him a pay-as-you-play contract and he didn't want it. So he's a legend, but it's the right time. It is the right time. The one thing that I pray for is, imagine this, right? Imagine that man that scored in the 93rd, 22nd minute to win us the league, right? Yeah. Imagine if he scores a goal in the Champions League final and wins us, and then that would be, does another Vinny, that would be sensational. It probably won't happen. We'll probably go out to Dortmund, but that's my dream.
Man City seem to have a problem, don't they, with like the quarter-final sort of situation. Guardiola, we don't seem to know how to get past it. It's like the barrier what fulfills him from winning the Champions League at Man City.
Yeah, so as a fan base and maybe a club, we've got this thing where we're not that bothered about the Champions League, and we use reasons, and they're valid reasons. We don't like UEFA because of the way they handled racism. We don't like the fact that they gave us a fine for being 2 minutes late out for a second half. Yeah, that was bigger than a club that were being racist to players for a whole game, and things like that. They're valid reasons, and we definitely believe in that. But at the same time, we also cling on to this dislike to the Champions League, and I think it is a bit of protection as well. Like, oh, we're not that bothered about it. Because, Because if I'm being honest, and this is quite interesting, I could ask you the same. When you're in the Champions League as a Leicester fan, do you ever believe that you're going to win it? Do you believe that you are good enough to win it?
I think that season after we'd won the title, we got quite far, didn't we? Beating the teams of Sevilla and Atletico Madrid. I think we absolutely bossed the game against them second leg. The first leg, clearly wasn't a penalty, way away from the box, that one. But I guess that's what robbed us. But I'm not going to.
I mean, and this is okay. So maybe your confidence is a bit different. As Manchester City fans, you won't even really hear us talking about how we've been robbed, because we just don't believe we'd rather, a poll was done with Manchester City fans. Would you rather win the league or would you rather win the Champions League? And this is after we've won a couple of leagues. Yeah. The vote, we'd rather win the league. We'd rather, we're happy. Steve said it earlier. Everyone is talking about, are City going to do the quadruple? And it's annoying me because I feel like people are saying that so that when we don't, they can go, well, this has been a bad season for Manchester City because they didn't win everything. Well, in December, we weren't even put down as winning anything. But now all of a sudden, if we don't do the quadruple, it's a bad season. We'll be happy if we win the league. And if we grab the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, great. Champions League is just a dream. If that happens, then my hat is hung up and I'm just going to go into the distance and just watch football and reminisce. But we can't. But then we've gone and got a manager that we thought would bring us that winning mentality that could get us over the line in the Champions League, and he's become embedded with a club that doesn't believe, and now he's overthinking every single game in the Champions League. And Dortmund is a hard test for us.
Yeah, it is. Haaland's got some really good players, aren't they?
Yeah, and Haaland could be out there ready to show us what we want to spend. Haaland currently is 150 million. If he scores a hat-trick against City, well, City are going to have to pay 200 million for him. So And then Sancho, an ex-City player, coming back. It didn't end well with Sancho.
Yeah. I just think we're Man City, it's high expectations for you guys, isn't it? Obviously, with the manager as well and how big the club is now. Expectations are high every season from what the fans want in it from a Man City perspective. Man City fans would want you to win the Champions League, the Premier League.
No, they're not as high. The expectations are bigger with other fans. Like, don't get me wrong, we do want to win the league every season. Like the league, you should be winning. If you're good enough to win the Champions League, you should be winning the league every season. Like really, if you're good enough to go and play. And if you take every tournament like City try and do, unlike Liverpool who do one tournament and they throw the other ones, right?
Yeah.
But the expectations of the City board and the City fans isn't as high as the media and isn't as high as all other fans. Just because of the look, we're a small club, with a lot of money.
I think that's what it is with Man City, isn't it? Obviously, they've been through what Leicester's been through, the lowest of the lows, and they've come back, haven't they? They've expanded as a club.
When you look at it, it's very similar. It is very similar. We've both been down to the third tier of English football. Come back. Do you know the one I forgot earlier you were talking about was we both had Sven.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I remember Sven at Leicester. Yeah. It didn't last long though. I think we got him in. He did. How many games did he do? About 10 games, was it?
Do you know what it is? So your owner's from where's he from?
Our owner's from Thailand.
Right, and our director that brought in Sven was from Thailand.
Yeah.
Sven's obviously been in Thailand a lot. I don't know what he's been up to over there, but I can hazard a guess.
I think Sven, he was good for England, wasn't he? But apart from that, he went to other clubs in foreign countries.
Funny character, wasn't he? He was a funny character.
He was more of a celebrity rather than a manager, you know. And
yeah, he was.
That's what you expect from Sven. So, moving on, what did you think to like the international break regarding like the Man City players and that? Obviously, the Portuguese players of your end played quite a lot of games, didn't they?
Yeah, Cancelo, Diaz, and Bernardo played, I think, every game for Portugal. I think you lot have got us at a really good time because we've got Dortmund on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And Bernardo, Cancelo, Diaz, who are all starters, played every game for Portugal. I think Sterling probably played 2 of the 3, maybe.
Yeah, I think Sterling, he played against Albania and Poland.
Yeah, and then Foden played 2 of the 3. Stones played 2 of the 3, or maybe even all 3. Walker played. De Bruyne played, but then got rested. So we will see. It's a hard one to pick. I would imagine Laporte will start against you. That's one you can probably call. I think Jesus will start. Fernandinho will start because he hasn't travelled. Rodri, I think, has only played maybe 1 of the 3 games, so he might start. I don't really. Gundogan's played. A lot of our players have travelled, and and then we've got to worry about Dortmund as well. So I think you lot have got us at a good time.
I think Gundogan's had a right lease of life under Guardiola, hasn't he? He scored like quite a lot of goals this season from unexpected.
Yeah, do you know the strange thing? Someone tagged me in something the other day, and it was Pep back in, I think, round about October, who called that he thought that Gundogan could score a lot of goals this season with the way he was going to play him. So it kind of shows. Sometimes you see these things that Pep said, and then you fast forward, and it's like, he really knows what he's talking about, doesn't he? He's had it. But to be honest with you, the 2018-2019 season, the home stretch, the business end of that season, Gundogan was sensational then as well, but it didn't really get spoke about because that was the season where we beat Liverpool, and people would rather talk about how close Liverpool came than talk about what we did. So we didn't really get spoke about, but Gundogan was really, really good that season as well. I mean, he was Pep's first signing, and he was injured when Pep signed him, and we still signed him. So it kind of tells you just how good the guy is. He's a professional, really.
Yeah. Let's talk about one man, an ex-Leicester City player himself, Riyad Mahrez, obviously a Premier League winner. It causes a lot of teams a lot of problems. I think when he joined Man City, there were the likes of Sterling, Bernardo Silva and Son who were ahead of him, weren't they? And he expected to be in the 11 week in, week out. But I guess at Man City, you've got to earn your place, haven't you? You're not going to get it easy, and you've got to perform when you get given the chance. And I think since Son has left for Bayern Munich, he's got given that chance, and I think he's took it with both hands, hasn't he, Mahrez? I don't know what you actually think of him at Man City.
Right, so I don't know if you saw my comment earlier, but I've got this little gripe with him about after the FA Cup final. I was in the hotel, and he was sat in a public area where anyone could go up to him, and City fans were out there signing, having pictures, whatever. They just won the domestic treble, and I kind of just come down from my room to get a drink, and I saw a load of City fans go over to him and say, Mahrez, congratulations, can we have a picture? And he was like. And from then, it's just stuck in my head that I can't get over it. It's like, you've just won the treble. This is these guys' happiest day of their life. Don't wave them away, please, because you're about to go on a summer holiday for a couple of months. Then you can have all the privacy you want. So that's kind of stuck in my head as well. When he's come out and said things about wanting to go else, like being happy to go elsewhere. However, if we talk about on the pitch, we can actually go back further than this season. Mahrez was very good last season. Very, very good, right? Yeah. This season, I think him, Gundogan, Rodri and Bernardo Silva have formed they are what I kind of call the professional. They're the guys that are going to get us over the line. They've won stuff and they know what it takes. And like the Bernardo Silva and Mahrez link up so well. So well. The one or two goals where they'll often lay the ball off to each other, and it's almost like they've been working on the training ground because the weight of the way they lay it off for each other is perfect. Like they've sat, just they know exactly what weight to put on the ball, and he's like Robin, isn't he? You know what he's going to do. He's going to cut in, but try and stop him. You try and stop him from doing that. You know what he's going to do. We all know what he's going to do. But the problem is that sometimes he doesn't. And sometimes he will feint them and take it to the byline. Yeah. And then, but he's just frustrating because sometimes he can maybe be a little bit selfish. Yeah. That's the only thing. But, you know, if you're not selfish, you don't score goals like Mahrez scores goals. So I think maybe it is a little bit unfair, the criticism, because how much are we buying for? 60, was it?
65, I think.
You know what? That's not that bad for someone like Mahrez. If you look at the prices at the moment, that's really not that bad. Maguire went for 80.
Chilwell 50. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've made some good money, some good business. We replaced them with the likes of Castagno, Fofana, Soyuncu. Do you get what I mean? And we've just...
don't even talk about Chilwell no more.
No, I think with Chilwell, he was like Marmite. You either loved him or you didn't like him. You get what I mean? And Chilwell, he's got a lot of pace about him, but it's just his defending that lets him down.
Yeah, bit like Mendy.
He's more like a winger and not a defender. So
yeah,
I guess with Mahrez, you know, him and Vardy had that connection at Leicester, which will never be forgotten about, and we just put him down as a legend. Kante as well, yeah. Kante was phenomenal.
Kante, what a player, man. I think the fact that he went to Chelsea and did the same thing at Chelsea the season after showed just how good. Like I said earlier on when we were talking about that position, that is why when I spoke about City earlier and saying my best 3 City players of all time, and I said Aguero wasn't in it, my top 3 was Kompany, Silva, and Fernandinho. Yeah, because Fernandinho is such an unsung hero. The amount of he does the job of 2 players, a bit like Ndidi does for you lot now. And Kante, I think his issue at Chelsea has just been they haven't played him right. There's been times where I've seen them playing him way too far up the pitch, and it's like, no, what?
He's had a few injuries as well, hasn't he? Which is cost him his time at Chelsea. Obviously, Tuchel now don't really play him as much, so it's where does Kante go from there? Does he go in the summer and join a team like PSG in the French league, and where does he look for?
I love Kante, man. I love Kante. How humble he is. He's such a humble guy. And I don't know if you've ever seen the clips of when France won the World Cup.
Yeah.
And France have got some very big egos. Like French players always have had big egos, right? But you see them, they all pull Kante to the front. Like you are. And when we talk about, Pogba in the World Cup, right, looked like Pogba. He looked like Paul Pogba, the Paul Pogba of Juventus, not the Paul Pogba of Man United. Why was that? That was because he had Kante next to him.
Yeah.
And when you've got someone like Kante next to you, you can be that. Bit like Yaya Toure at us. I'm a critique of Yaya Toure because if Yaya Toure didn't have De Jong, Fernandinho, Garcia, Fernando next to him, he would not be the same player. He was allowed to run forward and do all of that. If you do not have someone like Kante, someone like Fernandinho, someone like Ndidi next to you, that is going to say, you go and do that because I've got this. You can't be the player. And that's what's happening with Pogba at United. Yeah. He hasn't got that player next to him that allows him to play like Paul Pogba can play football. And that's probably why Ndidi and Tielemans works perfectly. Because Ndidi allows him to play the way he can play football.
Kante still drives the mini Leicester brought him. He apparently used to run to training. So
how much you pay for him? Sorry, I'm just going to grab a drink real quick. I'm still here. How much you pay for him?
Kante, I think it around £8 million.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
And we sold him for 35. That really his release clause. So
I tell you what. To be fair, your owners are doing some great business because the scouting system is just helping them. And yeah, you lot are making some big money, very big money.
I think if you look at Wesley Fofana this season for Leicester, he's an older head on young shoulders. And from a French league with Saint Etienne, it's no different football, isn't it? People wouldn't expect a young player like that to come to the Premier League and do what he's doing.
Yeah. I think, you lot have made a lot of money, you know, a lot of money. More than you think. It's
and then replace them with little.
Where's the money gone? Just a genuine question. Where's the money gone?
I don't know. New training ground. That costs.
Well, that's good. That's good. That costs a lot of money.
We've brought people like Wesley Fofana, Castagna. I think we've just spent our money wisely. You know what I mean? We've not just gone in there and thought, we've got £80 million. We're going to spend that. We're going to get on one player.
I mean, the one thing is that this summer you're going to have a couple of clubs by the balls again.
Yeah.
There's Maddison.
But it's who's going to leave Leicester.
And Didi. There's so many players that I mean, I don't think United ever want to do business with you again, to be honest with you.
No. It's crazy.
What was that about Kolo Touré?
He's a great player. I think did you have Kolo Touré at Man City as well?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
You got them both, haven't you? Because you got that song, Kolo Touré and Yaya Touré. So
I feel like Kolo Touré was just a bargaining tool to bring his brother. But he was Company's first partner.
Yeah,
and they won the league together under Mancini. So,
So which player would you guys say you missed the most? If you had to pick out of any of them who's left the club in recent years?
It's between two. No, it's Vincent Kompany, hands down. David Silva, we're already over David Silva. Like I said, he's the best player to ever play for us, but we're over him. We're showing this season we're over him. Yeah. Last season, without Vincent Kompany, when he left the season before, it left a massive gaping hole. And we've dealt with one of the holes. One of the holes being that we brought in Diaz now, and that is the defensive replacement. We're yet to see who is the passionate leader that Vincent Kompany was, because De Bruyne's not the answer.
Yeah.
De Bruyne is not a good captain.
He's a cracking player, though, isn't he? I know he might
Yeah,
not be a captain, but he's phenomenal.
Oh, unreal. Well, I mean, he's had a bad season, right?
Yeah.
Kevin De Bruyne has had a bad season. Go and look at his stats, and I'm telling you, he's had a bad season. And you'll be like, but he's top of the assist league. Yep, with a bad season. And that is the issue, because we've actually looked probably better when De Bruyne wasn't playing. If you think the run we went on through January and February, De Bruyne was injured, right? But the minute De Bruyne is fit, how do you leave out a player that in a tough game where all you need is one moment of magic can give you that magic? And he showed it against Everton. We would 0-0, and then he comes on in the 80th minute or 75th minute, and we score 2. And he's involved in. I don't know if he scored both of them or involved in one and scored the other.
I think Gundogan scored the first one, didn't he? De Bruyne finished the second.
He got a goal and assist in 10 minutes, and that is the issue, that you're like, he may be. We're not as fluid with De Bruyne in at the moment because he's having a bad season. But how do you leave out a player that can single-handedly win you a game? You can't do it.
You can't, no. I think that's where Tielemans learns a lot from De Bruyne as well, because obviously they're good friends, aren't they, Belgium? So I guess they have them conversations, don't they, how to improve each other's games.
And don't you think it's crazy that the other day, day before yesterday, I think it was, Belgium put out their B team. So no Tielemans, no Lukaku, no Hazard, no De Bruyne, and they won 8-0.
Yeah, Dennis Pratt scored for Leicester. So
it's, I mean, it when we talk about England and then we look at Belgium with their B team and what Belgium are doing. And to be fair, I don't know if you noticed what Denmark did in
yeah, they won, didn't they? We're at 8-0, were it? And
then I think the day later they won 4 or 5-0 again.
Jesus Christ. Schmeichel's had quite a good time at Denmark in the international break.
Denmark have got some really good Premier League players. Hobbo.
They've got quite a lot of good players. So let's talk about previous meetings then between the two clubs.
Right. So I promise you, I'm not going to get rattled like Stephen did.
Okay, then let's be sensible.
So I'll just put it out there, because I always talk about Leicester being our bogey team, right?
Yeah.
And then I went and had a look at our running, and actually our running over the last 5, 6, 7 years, we've won a lot more than you have, right?
Yeah. Which
surprised me. And I just put that down to that I think you lot have, I think, what's that? I can't believe Jose and that. Look, do you know what the thing was with, I don't know, not many people know this, right? But you see Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah.
The reason he left Chelsea was because a certain player was being brought back that had been loaned out. So, what's his name? The keeper. Belgium keeper.
Oh, Courtois.
Yeah. So he'd been loaned out, right?
Yeah.
And he'd been brought back, and he had slept with De Bruyne's girlfriend behind his back.
I heard that.
And you Google it, it's factual. And De Bruyne went and said, I can't play for the same team as this guy. And they was like, because they were like, Courtois had an amazing season, and they were like, okay, you're free to leave. Yeah. So thank you, Courtois, because without you, De Bruyne would not be at Manchester City now. But yeah, so back to the previous games. You lot have just some really deep wounds. The 5-2, obviously, that's very recent. Do you know what I was worried? I was thinking, who have I taken to a game?
No, I took the misses and we ended up getting a fine. So,
what was that for?
Parking.
Dogging, I hope.
I hope not.
Dogging in the middle of Manchester.
So let's get back to the previous meetings.
Yeah. So obviously the most recent one, that was a deep wound. That definitely caused some mental health issues for me. Back in October, just as we were going into lockdown part 2, we get spanked by Leicester, and everything went wrong from there. But then there's other ones like I think 4-2 you beat us. I think that was
Vardy scored the hat trick. Yeah, and did Kolarov score for you that game? Kolarov, was it?
Possibly. Yeah. This is where Steven started getting rattled, and he was like, "I can't remember all these games." And I do get what he's saying, because I had something similar with Aguero. People were asking me, "What are your best moments of Aguero?" And apart from the 93rd 20 minutes, 93 minutes 20 seconds thing.
Yeah.
What I remember about Aguero is things like on a Saturday afternoon, being out shopping with my missus, so I can't watch the game.
Yeah.
It'll be 1-1 at half time. And then I'll look at my phone 25 minutes later and I'll see we're 5-1 up because Aguero's decided to score 4 goals. That is my memories of Aguero, right? Because sometimes you don't remember these little details, because if I'm honest, the last 10 years has just been a whirlwind of results for us. But I just remember, and this is where I can't remember every Leicester game. I can remember one it was between Christmas and New Year. We just had our daughter, and my missus had gone and put her wedding ring back on when she shouldn't have, because her fingers hadn't gone back to the right size. And it was probably the first time after having our daughter I was getting to have a night of football. She said, "I'll look after the daughter," and 25 minutes in, she comes down. My fingers, I can't get my ring off. I've put it on. I can't. And I'm like, fuck's sake. And then I'm like, just calm down. And she won't calm down. She's trying to pull it off. Next minute, we need to go to the fire station. And I'm like,
oh dear.
So I ended up listening to the game on the radio while she was in the fire station. And I think we won 2-1. It would have been like late December game, very late December game. Remember that one? Apart from that, I just remember being terrorised by Vardy a lot.
Was that one at the King Power one, the 2-1?
Yeah.
We beat
you.
It
was a hard game, very hard game.
I think we beat you 2-1.
No.
After we played Chelsea.
I'll tell you when it would have been. So, in fact, you know what? If you bear with me, because it will be December 2015, right?
2015. I'm on about the one when Ricardo and Albrighton scored.
Leicester, Manchester City. God, I love Google. December 2015. Bear with me, caller.
That might have been the season after we won the title.
I got it completely wrong.
Yeah.
And this actually shows, because there you go. I thought we won, and this actually shows the wounds that you lot have caused.
Yeah.
I was happy with that result. The result was 0-0. It was a 0-0. 0-0, and I was happy with it. There we go.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah. So I was completely wrong there. But yeah, just Vardy's terrorised us.
Yeah.
100% terrorised us. I wouldn't put money on this weekend being any different. I mean, maybe not Vardy.
Nacho.
Yeah, we wouldn't be mad for him. I mean, City fans are a unique bunch. If you've played for us, then we like you. There's not many players that we don't like. We're not like Arsenal, and when a player leaves us, cry about it. It's like cool. And with Iheanacho, you know what? He was great off the bench as a youngster.
Yeah,
he was bagging a lot of goals. But then when Pep first joined, he got given Aguero got injured, and Iheanacho got given a run of games, and he did nothing, scored nothing. And it was one of those things where he's not a Pep type of player. He's a poacher. He's a poacher, 100%. Pep don't F with poachers, right? And with that, no, we don't like counter-attack anymore. We play possession football, but we are similar, but we're not a counter-attacking team anymore. We used to be. We're not anymore. But yeah, so he had to move on because his days at City, he wasn't gonna. He'd been given the run, hadn't, and I actually thought with you, he was being very similar. He was very hot and cold. But you summed it up early when you said last 4 games, 7 goals. He's come alive, and he's come alive at the perfect time because Vardy is bowing out now, right?
Yeah.
And you've changed the way you play football. Probably a Brendan Rodgers masterclass. You've changed the way you play football, maybe to suit the striker you have. Ndidi, hands down, all day long.
Indeed. Talking about previous encounters, though, obviously you guys have had quite a few results at the King Power. I'm not saying you've lost them all, but I think you won 1-0 when Jesus scored, when Ian Atro got punched in the face by Edison. KO'd him. We beat 5-2 at the Etihad. I remember the game when I think it was 1-0 at half-time, 1-1 at the Etihad, and you spanked us. We changed the format, brought Danny Simpson on and got wrecked.
Well, that's what you did in October, so...
It's just crazy to think the amount of results you have against each other, then you forget certain ones. And obviously, I remember that game when De Bruyne scored, and I think Frank Lampard scored as well for you guys.
Yeah, Frank's City legend.
So,
but I think the thing I would say is when I say about battle wounds from Leicester, I think it's probably because that's very true. And then who do and then Leeds have Kaiser Chiefs, right? As well. Every good football club need a good rock band. Even if I don't like rock music, I'll get down with that 100%. Go and watch. Who's the Leeds boxer? Warrington come out to Kaiser Chiefs. Oh my God, absolute scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the one thing when like I said, I fear Leicester because of the results you've got against us. But then when I look at it, you haven't got more than we've got against you. But I think that says how good you lot have been against us, because you've got more results against us than most other teams have. I think that's the same with all top six. You know what? It needs to stop this, because we say all top six like we don't. You find you do. Don't you find you do this as well? When you talk about the top six, you almost talk about yourself not being in the top six.
I think with Leicester, it's the case of nobody really talks about Leicester being a top six side. Obviously, Tottenham, I don't know how they're a top six team. They don't win anything. I think last time they won something was when David Bentley scored in that final.
Right, so that I paused then after you finished it, right? Because that's a clip that I will send. So, like I said, on our channel, Never Fail, make sure you like and subscribe, people. We've got an Arsenal channel called The Arsenal Way, and they love clips like that. To have Leicester fans talk about Tottenham like that, and it's true. Like, it's very true.
Yeah. Tottenham haters, isn't it? It's just like that year when we won the league, it were always Leicester City will come in for you. And it's like, hold on a minute, mate. You're still 10 points behind. They went 2-0 against Chelsea, and then Gary Cahill scored, and then they all started wrestling with each other. I don't know what were happening. And that's scored that bender in the top corner. What a goal.
Well, do you know what? That was just absolute mayhem.
That rattled them.
Yeah, do you know what they missed that season? Who's that midfielder that played for Tottenham? Oh, we talk about they've got a midfielder, right? Oh. And
it's not Dele Alli, is it?
No. He's Belgium.
Oh, Dembele.
Right. Absolute baller. Dembele, he does not get enough praise. And he went missing for I think he was injured or suspended or something or other the end of that season. I think if Tottenham would have kept Dembele fit, it could have been different. It could have been different. But the thing is that on Talk Sport one time, I think it was a season, it was 2018, 2019, January. We were playing Liverpool that night. And on Talk Sport, I think Liverpool were first, Tottenham was second, City were third, right? It was quite close. Liverpool had a bit of a points difference on us too. And the whole Talk Sport show was about who's going to win the league, Manchester City or Liverpool. Yeah. And Tottenham between us. But the whole show was who's going to win it. And a Tottenham fan was like, this isn't fair. We're second, but you're not even talking about us. And Adrian Durham was just like, Yeah, but City have got a game in hand. However, let's ignore that. And let's say City haven't got a game in hand or 2 games in hand on you. And they've played equal games to you. And you are second and City are third. You're still not in the title race because you're Tottenham. Like,
Yeah.
it's true. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Tottenham could be 4 points clear with 1 game to go, and they won't win the league. They'll find a way to not win the league. But they knock us out of the Champions League, and that's the most frustrating thing.
It's just mad with Spurs, isn't it? Obviously, they finished third in the 2-horse race. Even Arsenal finished ahead of them that season.
Remember that?
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, they were getting big-headed. We're going to catch Leicester. Of course you are, mate.
It might happen this season. Arsenal are 10th at the moment. They'll probably overtake Tottenham.
Yeah. So what would be your score prediction then for the weekend, Daps?
This is a good one because I have this way of doing things, right? And especially when I come on, right? So if I've got 2 me's, I've got the humble, normal Manchester City me. Yeah. Because generally we downplay everything. We wait until the end, and then we sit there and have a drink. We don't really rub it in people's faces. We're just happy that there's that me. And with a Leicester fan and on the Leicester channel, I can definitely be that me. I can be the glass is half empty me.
Yeah.
And then when you put me around Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United fans that chat nonsense all the time, I turn into the I won't. I'll be quiet for 3-4 months, but come February, the business end, where all of a sudden I turn into the absolute bastard me. That if you're one of them teams, I will terrorize you But I'm going to go back to, because this is a Leicester channel, and I've got a lot of respect for Leicester as a club, as a fan base, and also as a team. And I've always, when I look at the mass of the league and how many points we've got, I've kind of ruled out this could be 3 points United could gain on us. I mean, I'd be happy with a draw. I'd be happy with a draw. But I look after my mental health, and I get myself ready for losses, and then if we win, it's a bonus. So I'm going to go 3-2 Leicester.
Coming from a Man City fan as well. Oh, I'm gonna think it's gonna be a tight game. I think it's gonna be end to end. It'd be a very attacking game. It'd be Ndidi versus whoever you put in midfield.
Here's the difference.
Yeah,
will Leicester go back to the Leicester of last season before that? The Leicester of the 5-2 win. Or will Leicester be a bit more like the more possession? The new Leicester that are maybe playing a little bit different and not so much counter-attack, hit the ball, Vardy. And that's the thing. Like, I don't know. Because if I was playing Manchester City and you look at the City games, you look at a prime example is the 5-2 win to you, but you could also look at the City-Leeds game earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Leeds dragged us into playing Leeds football, right?
Yeah.
And there was a 20-minute spell where, considering it was supposed to be 2 of the best coaches, it was a game of schoolyard football. It was literally, and after about 15-20 minutes of that, Pep threw on, I think, Rodri and Fernandinho, because he was like and subscribe, people, and never foul as well, please.
Please like and subscribe, and also to Daps and follow him on Twitter, and also subscribe to Never a Foul on YouTube, guys. Go and check out their content.
But if I was Leicester, I'd try and drag us into that. City have never been good with teams that try and hit us on the counter. We've never been good with it because it changes the way we play. And if I was you, that is how I would play. But it's a great game because Brendan Rodgers is a really good coach. There's the Iheanacho thing. Will he score? Mahrez. So you lot cheer Mahrez, right?
Yeah, we love Mahrez. It's just, I think it's the way he left Leicester. I think it's the way he left, obviously, sitting in airports and that and wanting to push a move and stuff like that. He never really wanted to play for us. You get what I mean?
Right.
it's like he forced himself to play just to shut us up. So it's like, where do you even go with him?
Right, and that's a similar thing with me. Firstly, with Mahrez, that when I say I've heard he's come out and said he'd love to play for, I think it's Barca or Real or something.
Yeah, Barcelona,
yeah. Stephen, who was on earlier, he did a great article earlier this week about Aguero on his show, and they were talking about the mentality in Manchester City's dressing room and the can't think of the word, that basically that anyone that joins, like the company, Silva, Aguero, they've all left this legacy of, if you think about it, those are top golden boys from that first era of football.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen them be linked elsewhere?
No.
Have you ever seen them come out and say they'd like to play here? And all right, sometimes it's agents, but as a football player, tell your agent to shut up. Like, if your agent is talking out of term, and that's why for me, Yaya, however good he is, I've got that slight, because you never shut your agent up. You let your agent keep making my club look silly. And the same with Carlos Tevez. Carlos Tevez, great player. But let's be honest, Carlos Tevez went and played golf for 6 months. He did a Gareth Bale. So,
and he come back.
But he did come back and win us the league. So he's a great player. But I'm never going to see him the way I would see David Silva, Vincent Kompany, who write letters to the fans when they leave. And the same with Mahrez, that if a player starts talking like that, it's like, you've ruined your legacy at this club, because we can't buy into you. Like, all City fans will put Zabaleta up there because of how much he loved our club. And that's that is more important to me than what you do on the pitch. If you love my club, then I love you. If you don't love our club and you disrespect my club, I'm never going to put you on that pedestal, ever.
I think that's where Mahrez left his legacy at Leicester, innit? Obviously, he won the league. And, you know, I get he were a fantastic player, but I think he may go a bit big-headed for it. And, I'm bigger than Leicester, you know, I'll go to Barcelona and they'll have me. But Barcelona didn't want him.
Yeah, the two players that I often compare, because I think they were similar clubs at the time and kind of similar profiles, with Poyet for West Ham,
and
Mahrez, because they were it was the same era. And I mean, Mahrez was not as bad as Poyet. What he did at West Ham was just insane, but
ridiculous.
But yeah,
Andy Meadows said, I think Mahrez is always looking for his next move.
He is. I mean, there is the argument that City, because maybe I think he's I mean, I know I've seen the way he treated some fans, so I know he's an arrogant person. And it probably, if you are an arrogant, very, very talented footballer and you're not starting every game, then maybe you might want to go elsewhere. And you know what? Being from anywhere in the world, you want to play for Real Madrid or Barcelona, didn't you?
It's your dream, isn't it? To play for these big clubs and make a name for yourself in football. And I think he just goes about it the wrong way.
Sorry, one second.
Okay.
Sorry, so unprofessional, but right, as you were, sorry.
What's your score predictions, guys, for the weekend? Get them in below.
3-2 Leicester. 3-2 Leicester.
I'm going to go 2-1. I think if anyone's going to score for Man City, it'd be Jesus. He seems to have a thing for Leicester.
Yeah. Do you know what? There's a part of me that is thinking, is Aguero going to start getting some game time? Now that it's been... Is this like his
farewell sort of thing?
Yeah,
that might be his last hurrah in like the FA Cup or something. If they don't make Champions League and win the Champions League, it'd be the FA Cup, wouldn't it? And if it's not the FA Cup, it'd be the Premier League. So
yeah,
I'd love to have him at Leicester, but it's going to cost a lot. I don't think it's the price tag on him, is it? Because he's a free. No, Aguero.
I don't think Aguero is a good signing, because I think he's going to continue to look. If you look at Aguero's best years at Manchester City, he was still getting a lot of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's twilight years.
it's slowed him down, and he ain't really goal scoring now, is he? Since his injuries, he's like come for one game and back out again, and it's just like you don't really want that, do you? I think that's why Guardiola's looked at Jesus, and he's thought, you know what, he's a young player up and coming, and he's going to be a star one day, and he's obviously proven it at Man City with the goals he's scoring.
The other thing with Jesus is he offers he comes under a lot of bad press, but you only see things as a fan of a club, and the runs he makes off the ball, the mayhem he causes in defence. I really like Jesus, but the problem is when you're following a striker like Aguero, you are always going to be spoke about goals, and he does not do the numbers that Aguero does, and that's why he's not an Aguero replacement, and people need to realise that. Like he never has been the Aguero replacement. He's a completely different type of player.
Let's quickly talk about the Premier League table. Where do you think everyone's going to finish, Daps? Realistically.
So, knowing that you are 5 points ahead of Chelsea.
Yeah.
You know what? Saturday's a big game for you lot as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah, if we want to get top four. I think every game for us is important now.
Yeah. I would say City finished first.
Yeah.
I would say... Right, no, I'm not going to list it in that because I can't do it. I think that the top four will be City, United, Chelsea, Leicester.
Yeah. And what about the relegation zone? Who do you think is going to go down?
Whew. Well, Sheffield United are there.
West Brom.
Do you know what? It's really, really bad. I don't really know about the bottom of the league.
I think Fulham, they've just come out the shell a bit now, haven't they? So it could be Brighton. Is it Newcastle?
I don't think Fulham deserve it. I think Scotty Parker is doing a great job there. They've got a lot of young players, and yeah, I hope they don't. I don't think they will. I don't think Fulham are there. You know what? I'd like to see Barnsley go down. Burnley go down.
Barnsley.
Yeah. I'd like to see Burnley go down. I would. I think Burnley's style of football is just...
It's just one of them. They're hard to beat at Turf Moor, aren't they, Burnley? I think that's the only place they play good.
Yeah.
Away from home, they just lunch it forward, don't they, towards Crestwood, and that's the only way they know. So
they just need some throw-ins and they'd be Stoke.
Yeah. So before we wrap up the show then, Daps, where can everyone find you on Twitter and YouTube?
So on Twitter, it is DJ, so is it DJ Daps, the host.
Yeah.
I did have an easier one, but Twitter shut it down.
Okay.
And then, most importantly, YouTube channel, Never a Foul. Exactly as I say, Never a Foul. Yeah, I'm on there hosting a couple of things. You know what? We've got a lot of videos, lot of videos. We've got a City channel, United channel, Tottenham channel, Arsenal channel, Chelsea channel, Liverpool channel coming. Hopefully, we'll get a Leicester channel soon and many other channels. We do game week reviews.
Do you want Watford to come up?
Yeah, of course I do. I supported them as younger, but
they've obviously got Troy Deeney, haven't they? Who's obviously a legend at the club.
His days are numbered though.
He's not gonna leave Watford, is he? He'll retire as a player like Vardy will at Leicester. So
yeah, he'll retire there.
Thanks for coming on, Daps. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Jumper, ego kid, lovely.
Fresh ego kid, yeah. So yeah, hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a pleasure coming on and nattering.
And thank you for everyone who's watched our chat for the last an hour and a half. We're now going to wrap up the show. Thanks for coming on, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
And
Good
we'll
luck.
see you soon. Yeah, good luck after Saturday.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see you in the FA Cup final. Cheers, mate.
Maybe.
Cheers for coming on, buddy. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers.
Right then, guys. So that's the end of the show. Thanks to Daps for coming on from the Never a Foul podcast. It's been me, Jack, Leicester Fan TV. Hope you've enjoyed the entertainment, and We have a fan zone show tomorrow with Locks. The watch along on Saturday, Man City. Join me, Phil, Jamie, Locks, Tom, to take you through the watch along, pre-match and post-match, and Jamie's aftermath show on Sunday. So this is Jack, Leicester Fan TV. Thanks for watching, guys, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. With special thanks to our pals at ADT Taxis, Feed Me, Piglet's Pantry, Tiger, Leicester Garage Conversions, Pink Vehicle Leasing, Hologram, The Fox's Arms, Moyer Wade Interiors, and our chosen charity, Memphis UK. We bring you the fans' views on the match each week, and your views matter to us. Join the fans' debate each match with us. Follow us at Leicester Fan TV.